Nova Kooks.
Hello. We need just a few moments of your time.
And we should also say that we are not properly educated in nutrition. We're not doctors. We're just four guys in a room that like chips and
Trying to figure it out.
burgers and trying to feel better. Yeah.
What do you do with a drunken sailor?
Classic.
Lion.
And that's it.
Cool.
Sound good? Ready?
Hot doggy.
Let's go.
Little hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Could you stop eating in the microphone? Welcome, listener. You're listening to Nova Kooks. We are four East Coast surfers that don't take ourselves too seriously when it comes to surfing or other things. Hence our name, the Nova Kooks. In this podcast, you will hear us talk about surfing on the East Coast of Canada and hear some funny stories from our inexperience along the way. This podcast is meant to not only take you on our surf journey, but to also explore personal growth, adventure, and the world around us, including pop culture and other topics. Today's episode is all about what to do in Nova Scotia in the winter. We're calling the episode The Winter Blahs because we all get the winter blahs. Living in this colder climate, it can be hard with the lack of sun, etc. We're going to discuss what we do to beat the winter blahs. We'll also discuss what winter activities there are to do to keep your mind active in colder climates. This week, we will finish up with a check-in on Josh's Volkswagen van, and we'll get an entertaining question from Charles. Before we begin, I am Jared, and I will be your host. I'm seated with Charles, Josh, and David. Hello.
Hello.
Yo.
Hello, Jared. Charles, Josh, and David.
I have several questions I want you to consider.
To start off, today's icebreaker question.
Ayo.
Get it?
Oh, yeah.
Charles, you see it's because it's winter, icebreaker. Anyway.
Oh, yes. Very good.
If you could, Jeez. If you could only watch one winter movie, what would it be?
Oh.
Yes. It's hard to narrow it down to one, but that's the question. That's the question you're posing.
What was that Disney movie I said last year when we had a similar conversation and then you went and watched it?
It's not that good.
Frozen?
No, it was a downhill. It was a downhill ski movie from like 1972.
Yeah, like a guy quit his job because he inherited
A ski hill or
ski
something?
lodge, and then he opened a ski hill. Yeah,
What was that called?
I don't remember.
It's not about Eddie the Eagle.
No, but
No.
that is a great
That's
movie.
a great movie, too. I remember my brother in one Halloween when no one really knew Eddie the Eagle, especially elementary age students. My mom dressed my brother up as Eddie the Eagle.
Oh wow.
And he wandered around the gym and people were like, great skier,
Yeah.
dude.
Is that because she remembered him?
It was because my mom had a reference to it, but no one else did at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt a little for him.
Snowball Express.
Snowball
Right.
Express.
Is that your movie? You're gonna say?
No, that's the one you ended up watching last year after I
Yes.
referenced it.
Yeah,
My winter movie, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, but I mean,
that's a Christmas movie, but I guess that's a winter,
movie to
Sure,
me.
yeah, it's a good one. The sledding.
I might watch like
sledding
I
scene.
might watch like Home Alone or something. I'm struggling with this question.
You're going to Christmas. That's
I watch
okay,
a lot
I guess.
of movies.
Yeah.
I like movies.
I got pulled into the Christmas vortex a bit myself on this question.
Well, because winter to me
I get
is
it.
Christmas. This
get
part of winter is like,
Yeah. I tried really hard to not think of this in a Christmas.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. This
I
time
get
of year, I'm literally just waiting.
yeah,
I'm just tapping my
we're on
fingers.
the precipice.
We'll get into that.
The time changes,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, that's a big line in the sand for
Up
me.
here, you're already there.
Yeah.
Do you have one, Charles?
Yeah, so when you brought up this question, I started thinking about skiing and ski chase scenes, and there's always ski chase scenes in James Bond films.
Nice.
Probably the best one for ski chase scene is The Spy Who Loved Me, where he goes off the end of the cliff at the end and then parachutes in. He has the Union Jack on his parachute. But I think the best winter activity James Bond ski chase movie is on Your Majesty's Secret Service. They're I don't know if they're in. I think they're in Switzerland. They're up at that bunker up at the top of the Alps. There's a ski chase scene. There's an ice skating scene, and there is a bobsled scene between James Bond and Blofeld. So I would go with On Her Majesty's Secret Service as my favorite.
Good. There was a good
film.
chase scene down a mountain, snowy mountain, in the last one too.
There was
Daniel Craig's last one. Yeah, that was a good one.
But that's kind of what I was just imagining, like winter skiing, there being a chase scene. So I went to James Bond. Also give Die Hard 2 a shout
Die
out.
Hard came into my mind.
right
yeah.
here. Yes.
I love it.
I'm just going to add, as we segue, cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
I knew one was going to come to you as we started going chase scenes. Yeah, that's a good cliffhanger. We haven't done that with our Stallone.
Go ahead.
With our Stallone marathons. Yeah, we got to bring that into the mix.
I did that one on my own a couple summers ago,
Yeah.
but I'd watch it again. Cliffhanger, solid.
For some reason, I don't know if you have this. Sorry, I'm breaking the. I had a chain of thought. Sometimes when I was a kid watching a movie, and I think of that movie, I remember the snack I was having, and I remember eating peanut butter M&Ms as like when Cliffhanger came out.
That-
Yeah, and I
That's
remember the
a
video game.
beautiful-
I owned the video game.
That's a beautiful memory,
Ooh.
Jared.
Good snack.
I too very much connect food to movies.
Yeah.
We talked about Back to the Future in the last movie. I connect that to like a Pepsi and licorice.
Mm.
I can see
Yeah,
it in
it's
my hand
funny.
in the movie theater.
Wow.
Okay.
Sorry, David.
Dave, what about you? You're,
Okay, so I'm going to quickly, Die Hard 2 was one of my first thoughts. Then I'll go down the John Hughes train.
Nice.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh,
Solid.
Some great scenes in there. Home Alone, Uncle Buck. Also, gotta say, Cool Runnings.
I was gonna say.
Cool Runnings. John Candy, of course.
Yeah.
Respect for him and the Jamaican bobsled team. Now,
Dougie
I
Doug.
haven't watched in a while. I hope it still stands up and is. I don't know. I hope everything's fine with Cool Runnings. Dumb and Dumber. The scenes in Aspen.
Yes.
Is it Aspen?
And as well, Into the Wild. Into the Wild.
Ooh,
The John Krakauer book. Yes.
Yeah.
With
great film.
Emil Hirsch.
Great.
Yeah. Great
Yes.
film. Great scenes.
I find it hard to say great film about a movie that is literally about someone.
Right.
Great. Sad and great. Yeah.
Those are the ones that pop in my brain.
Yourself, Jared?
Yeah, I was gonna say Cool Runnings because I think of the Olympics, and that was a great movie. When I was a kid, I really enjoyed that.
What were you eating?
Probably original Doritos.
Oh,
Yeah,
is that
like the
from-
taco flavor.
That would have been.
Yeah.
Is that when the bag was orange on the bottom and white on the top with the little mouse with the
Yes.
cheese hat?
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, now that is
Yeah.
a special memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've often Googled that
Image.
bag to try to find that mouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little mouse.
I love that little guy.
But I would also say more recently, I really like Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you've told me about that.
I
before.
really enjoy that movie. It's the same director that did Parasite.
Yep.
And The Host and a bunch of other great
They've
films.
made a show of it. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I don't know about that show, but that movie, it came from a graphic novel, and I had read that graphic novel. I think I read it before the movie, but I really enjoyed it. It was right after Captain America came out, I think, and Chris Evans had done this movie, and he was, just on his rise, and yeah, it made me enjoy that actor even more, like, because in between all of his Avengers movies, he was doing really great stuff. But that movie's great.
Cool.
I really enjoy that movie. Yeah.
I'm going to add one more because it's
Okay.
good. The Gray is one of my favorite winter movies.
The Gray.
The Gray with Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it has one of my favorite quotes in it, which is once more into the fray. Once more into the fray, into the last good fight I'll ever know. Live and die on this day. It's one of my favorite quotes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. Good
Cool.
movie. I was also working away at that point, so it had very parallel things for me.
Thought somebody was going to say The Shining.
Ooh.
Great film.
Good one, yeah.
Wait, the one from 1981 with
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson, thank you. Or the one from 1996, the made-for-TV movie with the guy from Wings.
Steven Weber, not Steven Bauer, who we were
Ah.
confusing
Ooh.
with. So yeah,
They made
Whoa.
there's another Shining?
Remember when they used to do the Stephen King movie mini series thing in the summertime on TV?
No.
One summer they did The Shining. It was great.
There was like two parts to it, and Stephen King never liked the original movie of The Shining, so he preferred this TV version that they did, and he actually has a cameo in it.
This is breaking my brain.
Yeah.
I love it.
And it has a guy from Wings.
It does?
So it's always good to
Which
give
guy
out
from Wings,
some
though?
love
Which guy
to
from
Wings?
Wings?
It would be one of the brothers, so it'd be Steven Weber. He'd be the kind of cooler brother.
Yeah, he had longer hair.
Is he the guy in the one about wine?
No, you're thinking of
Sandra
the
Oh?
Roy character.
Okay.
guy.
That guy was in Wings.
Roy was the big guy. You're thinking of the mechanic guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Charles is right. It is Steven Weber.
Okay.
So the guy from Sideways. He also played Sandman.
Sideways.
Actually, what's the
Spider-Man.
date? Oh, today's March 6th. His birthday is March 4th.
That's
Oh,
my
wow.
birthday.
Hey, same as yours.
Whoa.
1961. Well, what a time.
All right.
What a time.
Great answers. Awesome.
Next, please.
Although we've discussed in the past how we all feel about winter surfing, we're going to touch on that later. But this week's episode is going to be about the winter blahs. We are four summer-loving guys, and I, for one, often wonder why our ancestors decided to settle or stay put here in this colder climate on the east coast of Canada in Nova Scotia. So to start, I got several little topics that we'll discuss as we go through talking about the winter blahs and what to do in Nova Scotia in the winter. But just to begin, do any of you guys get seasonal depression or vibes of that, or can understand people that do get that, because you can relate to when people say I have seasonal depression? You can relate. I don't want to downplay that because I know that that's a real diagnosis and people actually very much so struggle with it, and maybe some of you do. If you mind sharing, I know that I can relate, which is why I brought this question up. Do you want to do our regular?
Sure. I totally get seasonal depression. So I get spring, summer, fall, and winter. But yeah. No, I do. Like, I'm pretty strict with, not strict, but like, have a good regiment of vitamins and exercise and trying to get fresh air. But I kind of believe that you reach a point, I think we're at it now. Like, I'm at my tipping point where I need that shift to start to happen. So I start to really notice the dip. And
We're at the
so-
beginning of March, by the way, for listeners.
Yeah. Today's March 6th. So time changes in a few days. And I notice, like, before I realize it's the time change, I know that I'm yearning for it. I'm ready for it. And I notice the energetic dips. I notice the mood dips, all those sorts of things. Yeah. But yeah, no, definitely a real issue for me. Maybe someday I'll winter away.
Yeah, Snowbird.
Snowbird. Yeah. Maybe next year.
I think there's a Nova Scotian singer, Anne Murray, who released an album called Snowbird back in the early 80s or late 70s.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Anne Murray.
Should have taken it as a sign.
Yeah. Charles?
Charles, yes. Any?
Sure, yeah. Winters can be tough with it being cold and getting dark early and staying dark. So that can be tough at times, and kind of feeling low energy at times. And even if it's a kind of rainy day, it can kind of affect me a little bit. So yeah, I guess it's about powering through, but it is something that I kind of notice, like, the older I get, the more I notice or dislike winter, and totally understand why people go down south if they can. But one thing that I think about is I never felt that way as a child. And I don't know if that's because, like, if it's snowing, there's lots of fun stuff that you can do out in the snow, but also with it getting dark early, if maybe that was cool as a kid because it felt like you were staying up later. I just have no memory of, like, being bummed as a kid that it was getting dark early.
It's interesting.
You had an earlier bedtime, I guess.
Yeah, my experience is not that. I always was very much aware.
Oh,
That's
even as a
interesting.
kid?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
did you like it or dislike it that it was getting dark
I
earlier?
didn't like it. Yeah, no.
No?
I
Oh.
always felt, I was always upset when summer was ending.
Yeah.
Like, I felt the shift. I felt the temperature change. Yeah. I always had a weird thing with endings. I was always upset when Christmas was over. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
when great things end, so summer ends, Then you have that weird sort of fall
Yeah.
space. Then Christmas time, you're excited. Then you have that February, March
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to jump the line there, Dave. Is that okay?
Go for it.
I kind of feel like, in line with what you're saying, Josh, winter is cool until Christmas season is over.
Yeah.
Because then January starts, and then you're just in this long haul till, I don't know, end of March. And I just find that you're just, especially if you're, it's different for kids because there's snow days to look forward to and get all pumped about. Is it going to happen? Put the spoon under the pillow, wear the pajamas upside down or inside out, rather.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. But you can't say that.
I didn't.
But now as like, working adults, you really feel that wash, rinse, repeat with your day. Because when your work day's done, the sun's down, and it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're not allowed to do what you want to do. It feels like, I don't know. It's like this mental block that comes in, and yeah, I've been recommended to get the blue light.
I have one of those.
I don't really know.
I'm not sold on it.
Yeah. It might work for some people. I didn't notice much. I sit in front of a blue light. I'd have my breakfast in front of a blue light for I did it for 2 weeks, and I didn't really notice a difference.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's cumulative.
Yeah.
Does anyone know anyone that really enjoys the extended night period? Kind of, like some people are sort of like, oh, I'm a night hawk, man. I live for the darkness, and then like they love
Live for the darkness. Yeah, Dracula. I think. I live for the darkness.
but they're sort of like, oh, thank God it's winter, more nighttime. But I get more things done.
I've never heard that.
Just
However, I'm
No.
sure there's people. There's got to be people out there that like.
Well, I
it.
feel like when you hear people say I'm a night owl, that's just because the kids or the partner's in bed and they just get to have their time alone. I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with the sun.
No, I
That's
think
just my take.
But you kind of, you hear about like musicians or whatever, and they're like, oh, that don't start until the sun goes down. And then like maybe in the wintertime, the sun goes down earlier, they could be even more productive. And
That's, you know what? That's a good point. I don't know. I don't know anybody.
Yeah, I'm sure. There's. I've never heard of it. However, there's got to be someone out there who likes it.
probably.
And if you are a vampire, it's probably like, oh, I'm getting more stuff done.
This is
in the
fantastic.
oh yeah.
I'm way more efficient.
So on that note, 28 Days of Night, great film. Josh Hartnett.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was, that's like, I feel like those vampires were more like
I don't know what
night
they
zombies or something, but
Yeah.
they were. That was an intense movie.
Wow.
That was, I can relate to that movie with how the darkness and like in the town they're all talking about it. They're getting geared up for all the darkness with there's no daylight
Oh,
up in the
yeah.
north. Yeah, yeah.
Storm of the Century. That's it. Your turn.
I'm just
Stephen
thinking.
King.
I'm just going back to movies. There was a great movie. I think it was shot in Alaska with Al Pacino and
Yeah, Insomnia.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
But that was on the other side when they had all their.
Was it? It was all day.
Yeah, there's summers they don't have any
that's it.
darkness.
That
and
had Robin Williams in it.
That would really mess with you.
Yeah,
I think
it
that
did.
was. I'd like to watch that movie again. I
Underrated.
feel like there's something going on there. I think it was a good movie.
Yeah.
Were you, when you were working up north, did you kind of experience those extremes, Josh, in terms of like a period where it was like
Were you
all
that far
nighttime
up?
or all daytime kind of thing?
In the wintertime, it was shortened. So it really wasn't daylight until like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Like it would be duskish before that. And then the sun would start to go down again. So by 4:30, it was dark, 4 o'clock. But in the summertime, it was light out around 5:45, 6 o'clock in the morning. And then it would be dusk still around 11 o'clock.
Wow.
So it was weird.
Right.
So not like super extreme, but still like
Stretched
more
out enough to be like
to notice.
You'd be like, oh, it's 11:30. I should probably go to bed. I have to be up at 5:30. But it's still like
Yeah. Wow.
you don't. Your circadian rhythm is messed
Oh
up.
man,
Yeah.
that would really mess with that. Yeah, that would really be. And that movie alludes to it, obviously.
But
That's where
back to
Sure.
Dave before. your turn.
You go.
You go. Because last week you were talking about, not last week, last time we recorded, you were feeling it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Charles, you talked about it. I think like the older I get, the more I'm noticing it. I don't know. I definitely feel it, and I think it's for me. I really get it, and I think this is for most people. I really get energy from the sun. Like I really, if it's a sunny day, it's noticeable that my mood is different. My energy is different in
Even
a good
in the
way.
winter. Yeah.
Yeah. And lack thereof, obviously the opposite. So, I mean, when you're waking up, having your coffee in the dark, and I get to work, and it's just barely getting light then typically. Now it's getting a little better now. And when you get home, it's dark, and you're just kind of living in that dark. Oh, I've been feeling it lately, big time. And just the lack of sun. And I've noticed myself and on these sunny days, like on the weekends when I'm actually at home and can do things, I've just been like literally pulling like my favorite chair like in the patio window, like my plants, and I just plunk myself in the sun and just try to absorb as much, natural vitamin D and all the other great things, and it's been a help. I really enjoy it, and I'll obviously try to get out, just push myself to get outdoors and try to get the fresh air when you can. But big time noticing it. Yeah, absolutely.
You said a couple things that I wanted to get into.
Cool.
You sitting in your window makes me think of the Andrew Huberman advice of, he talks about the best thing you could do to be productive and to have a good day is the first thing you do when you wake up is get natural sunlight in your eye and like not with a sunglass on, but like outside, like step outside, go for a walk if you got to, and like look up, not at the sun to blind yourself, but like look up. And he said, if it's a sunny day, you need 10 minutes or you should get 10 minutes. And if it's a gray day, you need half an hour. So just him saying that as a doctor, like that's quite a difference of time. And we have so many gray days in the winter.
That's interesting in terms of like sunglasses, like negating the benefits of of sunlight a bit. So.
Yeah, he said you need to get that. Yeah, you need that sun. And my osteopath, we were talking about it, and she told me that, because my back is so tense, I have like lower back issues, and she said it's so tense, and she's like, what might help you with I feel like in the winter you stress more, and I totally do stress more. I find my anxiety gets triggered when I'm cold, like that uncomfortable, I can't warm up. And if I feel like cold in my extremities, it's like a weird tingle in my body, and then it gets my brain like it pushes start on panic for me. So I have more panic issues in the winter. To full disclosure, being honest, she was telling me like because of that I tense, and she said I need to be getting more vitamin D, and she's like that would benefit me by like taking a supplement. And she said that she recommends it to everybody that lives in this climate, because in Nova Scotia we don't get enough sun in the winter. You have to supplement that vitamin D that the human body needs for happiness and wellness. And about that, Josh, you mentioned earlier that you do take a lot of supplements and stuff. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys take supplements other than vitamin D to help you with the happiness in the your happiness in the winter?
Yeah. I mean, you can see a whole row of vitamins on my countertop. I don't take all of those. I fluctuate. I've tried a bunch of different things, from like zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, calcium, B1, B12. Did I say B12?
You said B1.
I have a multivitamin, and then just kind of trying to experiment with different things and see how I feel. And this is also on the heels of things that I've read. But I do stay consistent with the vitamin D for sure. I just added actually a garlic supplement that seems to be interesting as well.
What are you using that for?
To help with digestion and things like that. So it's so I guess we're full disclosure here, but as my mental health deteriorates as well, it has impacts on my digestion. And then if you load on the stresses of work and life and all of that, I have to kind of keep my gut health in good shape. So like that's kind of a lot of what you see in terms of supplements.
Yeah.
And I struggle a bit with getting enough vegetables in the wintertime and things. I don't know why. It just happens to be the way that it goes. And so I try to round that out with my vitamins and stuff.
Well, where we live, there's not as many fresh vegetables, like local.
Yeah, I guess I struggle because I don't really like carrots and broccoli. I don't mind
the root vegetables that last.
Yeah. So like I like a lot of like bell peppers and beans and things like that. So that tends to be how I cook. So I probably get more vegetables than I say that I do. I picture them to be carrots and broccoli, and because I don't have that, I assume I don't get enough vegetables. But that's not the case. But yeah, big on supplements.
Charles, do you do any?
I mean, I have some vitamin D, and I try to remember to take it. I don't always do, so I don't really supplement well. And yeah, similar to what Josh is saying in terms of my fruit intake isn't great, and I find I probably over caffeinate in the wintertime as well, because there's something cozy about having that hot beverage. I'm a coffee drinker, and then it's just like, oh, well, I'll have another coffee, and then that can kind of make you a bit jittery.
It's also a distraction when you're in like these pits of despair of winter.
Yeah.
Oh, I could have another coffee.
Just make a coffee. That'll make it better. And I'm bad for that in the evenings where I'm just like, oh, I just want a cozy hot beverage. Coffee it is.
Yeah.
I try not to drink too much coffee, but you're right. It's almost like the routine of having a cup of coffee, looking out the window. I'm sure when you're talking about your chair in the window, you've got a cup of coffee in your hand.
There's a coffee.
It's such like, but even if it wasn't like a caffeinated thing, even when I have like a tea, like a herbal tea or something, I stand in a window.
Sure.
This is
looking out.
This is a nice feeling.
Yeah.
Or going for a walk with a hot beverage is really nice too.
So interesting because you don't let yourself do it unless you have a drink. You know what I mean? Like you're not just going to stand in the window.
Yeah.
Well,
you're going to stand there and enjoy
the neighbors might be like, well, there he is again.
Yeah.
Well, some
Stand in the window.
people do that are that practice more mindfulness.
I'm speaking of myself.
Yeah.
I find I make a reason. I have to have a reason almost. I'm like, oh, I'll get a coffee and then go for that walk or do this or
yeah. What about you? Do you supplement with vitamin D's and stuff?
I mean, I know vitamin D directly, but I got on the multivitamin train probably 10 years ago. Just probably, same thing, realizing that maybe I'm not balancing my diet out enough with vegetables. And I take a multivitamin before bed and just kind of let it be in my body for 6 to 8 hours, and hopefully it's kind of stays in and I get some benefit out of that. And so I can't say as though if I don't take it or I take it I feel it per se, but in my mind I'm kind of like it can't hurt me, and hopefully there's enough stuff in there that just kind of keeps the levels okay.
Up until my osteopath said this, I never took. I would hear, well, maybe when I was younger, I lived with Josh and I remember him taking a multivitamin, and then for a while after that, I was like, I should probably take that too. And then I stopped.
I was going to say, I've been on this kick for a long time
Years
at this
and
point.
years, Yeah, there was something about, when I was younger, I didn't, and I say younger, I mean like in my 20s and 30s, I didn't drink coffee. I didn't have pop as much as I pop. Like when I was a kid, I did all of these things, and then I tried to just be clean and as natural as possible. And there's like, what's right is natural and good. And I always thought that even like vitamins weren't natural in my head. I just thought it was like, why do I need to supplement? I need to just eat well and live well, and that should be enough. But my osteopath said like vitamin D is just, you're not getting enough. And so I started.
Yeah, it just, I mean, what you're speaking to there in terms of, trying to eat well, that's kind of like, well, it's like the anti-vitamin thing, but there is a tendency in wintertime, of course, to comfort eat. So it's all those like, those carb comfort foods, chips and whatnot.
Which, like when you go into these, I'll call it a dip, and whether that's like an energetic dip from lack of sunlight and vitamin D and all that stuff, or if it's like a mood dip, also connected to the same thing. Like that's the first thing you want to go for. It's, I feel low, a pizza will make me feel better.
Yeah.
You start to do those kinds of things consecutively across the winter or whatever. Like I'm going more in a different avenue in terms of like
It's okay.
the impact on your body. But vitamin deficiencies are very real. Like,
I feel like you've done this thing, Josh, where you get into those, your body wants, those comforty, bready foods because it makes you warm faster. Like it's this trick. I feel like that happens.
it releases dopamine. Like it's a feel good. When you eat it, you feel good.
But I feel like you've done this shift where you listen to your body in a different way and you crave something different. Like you crave what's right. I notice like when I hang out with you and we'll go out to eat, it'll be like wintertime. Like the other night we were out to eat and you were eating healthier than everybody else at the table. And it was like, but you were just as happy because you knew that your body needed that rather than leaning into like the bad bacterias in your stomach saying, give me my carbs. And
thanks for noticing. That's taken a lot.
I've always noticed that. When we were in California, I was having burgers and you were having avocado chicken salads and like, man.
Okay.
And I think that is a conscious effort for me because I can go way off the rails. I could eat a bag of cookies every day. Like,
but I see you on the opposite end of, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I see you on the opposite end where you crave that salad and chicken because you know you're going to feel better after eating that than
yes.
when you see somebody eating a juicy, delicious looking burger in front of you,
I'm wise enough to know what's going to make me feel good. And part of the reason for that is kind of what I said about the GI stuff or stomach stuff is that it'll take me out of the game mentally. If I don't feel good, I don't want to have a conversation. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to do stuff. And so that impact in and of itself has kind of led me down the path that I've been going.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to how I feel. And I just, for a long time, I didn't feel great because I was just responding to what my
I just noticed
brain
your
wanted.
socks.
Oh, yeah.
So, you have a kettlebell on your socks.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you looking at me? But it's what's that word? When I eat like that, it's like the quick reward versus like, well, over time, you just kind of, you don't feel good.
Yeah.
If every time you go for that hit, whether that's, I don't know, a cheeseburger or pizza or whatever it is, not that there's anything wrong with any of them, but if that's what you're going for every time, like over a period of time, you're just not going to feel great.
No.
Your body doesn't run on that very well.
No.
Pizza on Fridays, sure, your body runs fine on that. That's not a big deal. You recover on Wednesday or Sunday, Saturday.
4 days later, Bob's your uncle.
Well, getting older, I feel like it's a long recovery time for stuff. Sometimes
doubt.
It is fascinating though. Like, so I kind of pay attention to like nutrition and fitness for myself. And if for example, I like to have pizza on Fridays, and I can tell what that's done to my body on Saturday because there's a difference in my hydration. My body retains water because of the extra sodium. So I literally weigh more the next day, and it's not because my belly's full of pizza. It's because I'm retaining water because of what the extra salt has done and things like that. So it's just you start to see the stretch.
I've always noticed that when I train and I'll have a cheat day, I notice that too. It's It takes me like I'll fast the day after a cheat day when I'm training.
Yeah,
when I've trained in the past, not that I'm training lately, but
yeah.
It's and maybe for a lot of people it doesn't take this long, so I'll speak for myself. Every now and then, like, because you notice these things and you learn about yourself and you gain this wisdom and you start to connect dots quicker. And I wish it didn't take 40 years to figure this out. And maybe that's just me. Maybe other people figured it out earlier or taught better. But like now,
I think it's our age though that we care more because we
care more.
Mortality is in our face a bit more. And
yeah, that's fair. Youth is wasted on the young type of stuff. I'm not sure, but I wish that I.
Wasn't a waste. It was fun.
Oh, listen,
Yeah,
I wouldn't,
it was
wouldn't take back a second. But, some of those things I wish I connected a little earlier.
Me too.
But I guess you could say that about lots of stuff. I'm happy where I am.
Yeah.
I swear.
No regrets.
No regrets.
But you also, you as in like the general you, none of us know like the mechanisms that are happening. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah. Well,
like the dopamine from a cheeseburger.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know that that's actually manipulating me in a way that makes me want another one the next day or the next day. And like if you don't start to catch those sort of cycles, like it's easy to go down those.
True. There's I don't know how I'm not going to probably say this as intelligibly as I wish I could, but you say the young. When I was younger, I would not listen to Huberman Lab podcasts talking about maximizing yourself athletically or physically or whatever. I didn't care. And even now as an adult, I only have so much capacity to hear it. Right now we're talking and I promise you Athletic Greens is going to show up on my Instagram tomorrow because we've talked about vitamins so much. And and then I'm going to get I've said Huberman enough that it's going to show up. And it's going to irritate me because I don't have the capacity for it right now. I'm on another track right now. I'm focused on other things. It gets over.
Sure.
All of this information gets overwhelming, and we should also say that we're not properly educated in nutrition. We're not doctors. We're just we're just four guys in a room that like chips and
trying to figure it out.
Burgers and trying to feel better. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess to your point, a lot of times we don't care about things until we have perspective on them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that comes around this age.
Yeah.
Right.
Not wanting to, by the time all the stress of all the years is compounded and you haven't eaten that well for a long period of time, like eat more and eat well, not don't eat this and don't eat that. And
there's no moderation.
Yeah.
There was no, you're
it's
right.
Just different. Really, it's all about nourishing your body,
Yeah, there's
not
some trendy.
not
so
depriving
many
it
trends
or restricting it.
So it's so hard to
And
keep
they
track.
change so often.
Yes. Well, what's that one? There's two guys that they were selling like meat diets. Paul something and the Liver King. They were like
Carnivore diet. The Liver King got caught for being on
Steroids.
all kinds of steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I was getting all of this stuff and I what I eat in a day, and it's so enticing. And sometimes when you first see it, it's like that all looks decent. Sure. Yeah. But
Yeah.
And there's too much of that. It's all individualistic. Eating intuitively. What does your body need? It's not like you
Right.
can't
there's
go and tell someone you have to eat this much protein and this much carbs and this much fat. You can to a certain extent. But if that person just can't eat it because, I don't know, their digestion is slow from stress or they've never eaten that way, and then you're telling them on a Monday that Tuesday they have to eat this many grams of protein, like you have to listen to your body. Are you hungry? Oh, no? Okay, well, wait a half an hour and see if you're hungry and then eat.
it's not like a one size fits all situation.
And there's too much of that. I don't
know. Anyway,
I don't know much about those diets, but I don't feel that's a healthy way to live. But there's plenty of people that do the carnivore diet. There's vegetarians, vegans, there's everything in between.
Find what works for you.
Yeah.
But let's bring this back to the topic at hand, the winter blahs. We got right into
That was a rabbit hole.
No, but you know what? It's all good. I think
Intuitively eat. That's
Yeah. Have a pizza on a Friday.
absolutely.
Pizza Fridays.
My God.
Yeah.
I love a pizza on a Friday.
Somebody had Pizza Hut pizza, leftover Pizza Hut pizza for their lunch today.
Yeah.
When's the last time you had a Pizza Hut pizza?
2009.
The year was 2009.
I don't
Well
know.
played.
I think I did have it recently because
It's pretty tasty.
we were talking about stuffed crust.
Do they still do the stuffed crust?
Yeah,
I've never had a stuffed crust.
they do.
I'm just talking regular old, what's it, pan pizza.
Yeah.
A personal pan pizza.
Deep dish.
Yeah.
Wow.
That'll knock your socks off.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is funny. We've come back to Pizza Hut.
I was just going to say, you brought me right back to those little curled slices of ham on the Pizza Delight pizza we talked about. Pizza Delight pizzas we talked about.
But back to winter.
Winter's good.
Next, please.
Yeah, let's talk about some of our favorite winter activities to do in Nova Scotia, because even pavement sports are difficult. Like, I don't send my kid out on a bike. I don't like to go out on my skateboard much because it wrecks the trucks, and those you don't want to.
You don't undercoat your skateboard?
Yeah, but it's bad for the bearings, and also if you hit a piece of salt, we put salt on our roads here, and I don't know about you, if you've ever gotten stopped on your skateboard with rock salt and fly and then land on that rock salt.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
One time it was really bad.
The old cheese grater.
My hands. I have scabs or scars on the palms of my hand from one time going down real bad that way when I was a kid. Yeah.
That'll teach you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So favorite winter-based activities. Does anybody have one or a couple that they want to share that we can do in Nova Scotia, and maybe where you can go do it?
I'll just speak to just being we're in Dartmouth, but over in Halifax, there is the Oval, which is totally free, and you can bring a piece of ID and get a pair of skates there. So that's a great thing that the city has that encourages some outdoor active stuff for the winter time.
It's about the size of a running track. It's kind of designed for speed skating.
Yeah,
I think they built it for the Canada Games. And
Yep.
Just
and
left
then
it. It's awesome.
And it's been free and accessible ever since. In the summertime, I believe you can like roller skate on it and stuff.
Kids bring their scooters and
and just something less extreme, but even like Shuby Park or Point Pleasant Park are just really pleasant to stroll in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great escape from the city where you do feel like you're immersed in the forest.
Yeah, it's fun to go on some hiking trails. And Musquodoboit has that Admiral Lake Loop. There's tons of great places to go hike. And that makes me think of we haven't had a lot of snow generally speaking this winter, but recently we got dumped. We got about a foot down, and it's holding. And snowshoeing is kind of a fun thing to go do.
Yeah,
if you got some snowshoes, some of the local, like we talked about Decathlon for surf gear, they also have very affordable snowshoes, and I think you can rent them at MEC. I think they have a program.
Sure you can. Yeah, snowshoeing's fun.
It is fun.
Hit a local golf course or a faraway golf course. Golf courses are great places to do stuff.
There's also Kepik Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have don't they have a cabin up there that you can warm up after you get up the hill?
I think they've really built up their infrastructure.
Where's that?
Near Antigonish.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. And there's Sugar Moon Farms near Truro.
Yeah.
So there's when there is snow, there's lots of trails there. You can rent snowshoes, and then you can have some pancakes and syrup afterwards.
Yeah, I think
pancake party.
I think I'm going there a week this
Nice.
Sunday.
Oh, nice.
For a little snowshoe pancake party.
Nice.
Could be just pancakes based on how the weather varies around here.
Well, so be it.
That's a good point. My daughter just did this. I know it from living in Quebec. It's something else, the cabane de sucre with tir de sucre, where you have it's like maple syrup in snow. And if the maple syrup's warm enough, and when you lay it in the snow, you take like one of those tongue depressor popsicle sticks, and you lay it down so it sticks, and then you just roll it, and it becomes like a maple syrup lollipop. When it snowed the other day, we had a snow day, and that's what we did.
Nice.
Yeah, right away, Maddie was like, "We can have maple syrup on a stick," and she ran out. It was awesome. Yeah,
that is cool.
That's fun. Yeah, I remember in Montreal or in Quebec, we went to one of these, which is similar to Sugar Moon Farms, and I've never been to Sugar Moon Farms, but it was the most fun day in the winter I think I can ever remember. We got a horse and carriage ride in the snow into the woods, like all the nice spruce trees and maple trees all around, and then right when you get there, they do the sugar on the stick, and then you walk around and they have all these like summer, like all these winter activities. And then you go in and there's traditional like French Quebecois music being played, and they give you like breakfast food. So you have like ham, bacon, eggs, beans, potatoes.
I could get into that.
And they come around and they pour maple syrup on everything.
Perfect.
And
Just
it's like, it's like
do they come around like refilling coffee, but except it's maple
exactly.
syrup?
It's like, can I offer you
Bottomless
more?
cup.
And people
Excuse
would be
me,
like,
sir. It appears your pancakes have soaked up all the syrup.
Yeah.
Would you like more?
No, literally, this is
awesome.
what happens. And then after that, you do some traditional dancing, which is like I don't remember how to describe this. Kind of like square dancing, similar. You do like a step dance, but you stand in the perimeter of a room and you do these moves, and someone in French tells you what to do, and if you don't speak French, you just stare at the person next to you and watch what they're doing and do it.
Mimic.
And yeah,
That sounds great.
it was a great day.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Growing up, I grew up in Ontario, and there were these sugar shacks back in the forest, and we lived in the country, and winter was awesome. I remember winter being so fun as a kid. Like we
Nice.
would just cross country ski, go all
Yeah.
day long, find these sugar shacks. Like it was just so fun.
We used to
Like, yeah.
cross country ski at golf courses
Yep.
growing up. We love that as a family. Yeah.
Fond memories of that.
That's an 80s and 90s thing too.
Totally. One piece ski suits.
Oh
and
yeah.
Just rolling with it.
And the shoes that I had for cross country skiing, they weren't boots. They were like tennis shoes with the toe just long with the 3 holes
Yeah.
that you just
Yeah, they've
clip
drastically changed now.
Soaking
in.
wet,
So cold.
stinky,
Yeah.
bleeding. Sorry.
And they
Yeah.
were all
I digress.
Well, because your heel's going up in this
Yeah.
shoe
Yeah.
with like that
and
pressure.
they were always ankle shoes, so you'd have to get
Yeah.
like gaiters.
Oh yeah.
What the heck?
Oh, we didn't have
But we
gaiters.
didn't have gators.
My
I
parents
didn't
didn't know what a
we didn't-
gaiter was.
I mean, there was one pair of gaiters in my house. I
We
think.
needed them.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I have a pair now, and I don't use them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we really enjoy skating, and we were super bummed that this winter's been so mild here that not enough lakes have frozen. I've seen a couple lakes that have frozen and people that have gotten out, but we have a lake behind our house here in Dartmouth. Dartmouth's nickname is the City of Lakes, and it is the most magical feeling to walk down the path behind my house and strap on skates and skate on the lake. And you could just skate from one end to the other end. It's like 400 meters, maybe 500 meters. And it is awesome. Yeah. Do I mean 500 meters? My math is bad.
Yeah, it's probably about 500 meters on
Yeah.
that lake. Yeah, that's accurate.
And it's so much fun. And every day this last week, because it's been cold enough and it is frozen over, I've gone down with my hand drill and I got a
Checker.
big bolt just to check, and it's not deep enough.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
skating
it's
on a
been
pond
bummer.
or a frozen lake is so fun.
There's something I can't describe how it's special. You're doing
is.
something special. Yeah. Has anybody ever ice fished?
No, I've always wanted to.
Not
There's some shacks out
not
on
in a
our
long
lake
time.
sometimes too, and people go.
I feel
ice
like I could get, like, speaking of having a coffee in the window, I feel like I could get really into just having a coffee and just being in this little
sitting in front of a hole. And
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's like pretty involved. There's a YouTuber that I follow sometimes from Minnesota, and they're cold. They were ice fishing in November already. Maverick, I think he goes by Mav or something. He's a young guy, and he car camps in the winter a lot, and
That's cool.
and on a lake. Like he'll drive. Yeah, sometimes he has some snowmobiles. It's really enjoyable. I'll watch him before bed sometimes because I just the concept of sitting around and catching your fish and then cooking it up right there next to the hole, and all the gear. It's so cool. It's like it's fun. It's,
When I think of ice fishing, I think of Grumpy Old Men, the movie. Because
Yeah.
they all had their shacks.
Walter
And I
Matthau,
just
yeah.
picture myself in this little wooden shack. Like, I think he had a record player. Like,
yeah, well, people bring
heated there.
generators out there and
Yeah.
like settle in for a day or two.
Hey,
Yeah,
bud, stop by. I could get into that.
yeah.
Yeah, a guy I graduated with, and he's a teacher as well. He lives on Kinsack Lake out by the new Ashburn Golf Course.
Oh yeah.
And he's really always loved fishing and has really kind of pushed all in. And now he does like guiding and ice fishing on Kinsack Lake. And then he sort of got into the culinary side of it too.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever he catches, and he does some hunting as well. He's a very good chef too, like even back then, but like he'll just make these dishes. And I think he's got like a YouTube channel now, and I think it's sponsored. And anyways, Matt Zito, Kinsack Lake Fish On is the name of his business, but he's really like taken off, and he does a lot. Yeah, really cool.
That reminds me, we're talking about ice fishing, goes into hunting. Have you guys ever gone hunting in the winter during hunting season?
Nope.
No?
I don't think there's a hunter in the room.
No.
Never.
No, but again, I have a neighbor that hunts, and I totally, I guess when I was younger, I didn't really get it, but he's like super proud that like most of the meat that they eat in the winter is like stuff that he's gone out and you know, he's very respectful to the whole process. And yeah, but I think it's if you think about it as a winter activity similar to ice fishing or camping, it's like you're camping with a purpose, all the gear. It's so easy to get into that sort of stuff, that mindset. When he talks about it, he was like so excited because he got some type of portable or mobile tree stand that he could just keep. It's like an easy system that he can move around, and yeah, it's just cool. I don't know.
I like the sound of the activity, but the rest of it, I don't think I could do. I don't even like fishing, like putting a hook through a fish's face.
Yeah.
Like if I did, I'd file the barb off. But most of the time I've gone fishing with people. We used to do it at work when I worked away, and I just operated the motorboat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fished up there. I drove the motorboat and drank coffee. They fished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walleye. That was the type of fish.
Yeah, that's what this Maverick guy is always catching, walleyes. Yeah. I think in past episodes we've talked about skiing and snowboarding.
Yeah. And I would say that's my number one winter sport. Is my wife and I, we get the season pass to Martok.
Yeah.
We've been going up once a week, if not twice. And that's a nice way to break up the winter. I find it kind of not forces you, but in a good way. Like that sounds kind of harsh, but you know, on a Wednesday night, you know, you've worked all day, you're tired. It'd be easy to just put your feet up and nothing wrong with putting your feet up, but it kind of just gives you that extra, hey, let's go get 5 to 10 runs in.
And it's funny because it sounds exhausting, but energy makes energy. You're like super jazzed after you do something like that.
And the second you get up there, get that fresh air. It's dark, but the you know, I don't know. It just there's something magical about that. It's a good thing to do in the winter, in my opinion.
Yeah, I haven't had a ski pass for Martok since like before my child was born, but I used to love going there, and I'd snowboard. I'd go there after work. I'd drive from Musquodoboit, so I'd drive like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yep.
And actually, it was less than that. It was like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed that. I would do that two nights a week.
Yep.
But what my family does is we go to Wentworth, which is a little bit further. It's, I don't know, what is it close to? Close to Tatamagouche? Like on your way to...
Past between Truro and
Sackville?
Tatamagouche, like somewhere in there.
Yeah. Wentworth is a great hill. It's they have a whole community there, though. Like, it's pretty incredible. And it's, you know, growing up, there's always been this like Martok versus Wentworth thing, but Wentworth is slightly bigger. It isn't as accessible if you live in the city.
Yeah,
it's a little bit further.
If I could, if things were different, I'd definitely go to Wentworth probably.
Yeah.
However, just that 35-minute drive from town it allows us to get there quicker.
Yeah.
And it makes it happen, in my opinion.
Well, we have friends that own a cottage there, and it's big enough to hold like quite a few people. So we'll go there once or twice a weekend in the winter and absolutely love it. Have a good time. Like, we'll snowshoe up there. There's so much to do. Not just skiing. There's like frozen waterfalls to go check out and hike in with snowshoes, and it's so fun. But that kind of brings me to, that's a family that can't wait for winter to start because they've invested, they have their season passes, they have that cottage, they drive up from the city. So they do the hour and a half drive Friday, like right after work, and kids, they drive up and their parents are there all winter. They just stay there and they have supper ready for them, throw the kid in bed. The kid has lessons at 9 a.m. and skis from 9 a.m. till 3 every day.
Awesome.
On the weekends. And then they'll do the March break camps that they have there. And they love it. And they're exhausted on Sunday going back to work, but they love it.
Good, healthy weekend.
Yeah. And you go there and, they have like hearty meals because you're outside all day. Like spaghetti and meatballs is what we usually have when we're there, or like ribs on their barbecue. And it's such like a winter zone there. They have a snow marker in the backyard so they know how many feet of snow that's there.
That's cool.
Their ski passes from every year, their season passes are on the wall. So you see my buddies since he was 2 years old all the way to now he's like 44 or something now. And it's a whole culture that I never had an experience with, but that's how you do winter right, in my opinion.
That's cool.
Is you invest in like ski culture for the winters. Yeah.
And they get a lot more snow there too. So now what Martok gets it done with the artificial snow, and it's been great.
Martok's had a better winter than Wentworth.
Is that right?
100%,
I didn't know.
100%, because they have less ground to cover with their snowmaking.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah. And that's another point too. Like, it's the best feeling to strip off your ski clothes and sit in front of this warm winter fire. That's got to be one of my favorite winter activities, is sitting around a winter fire, like playing the guitar. We did this at a cottage last year, like just passing a guitar around this winter fire in the kitchen. That was awesome. After we hiked and got lost.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of the woods. I'm like, the road's that way. We just keep going. And all of a sudden I felt like we were in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, walking on treetops. Because the snow was like all the way up.
That was crazy. Yeah, all of these trees had fallen and they were crisscrossed on each other, and we were walking on top of them, but really we were like 5 feet in the air.
Wow.
And then we were trying to like figure a way out, and we were going down in these
we were really it was crazy.
Wow.
Meanwhile, we found our way back to the road because we could hear cars.
So and there was a stream. We knew there was a stream.
We just went in the sound of the cars.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, cool. It was nuts.
That was fun though.
Those were the days.
Yeah. Well, one more thing. Has anybody done Nordic spas?
No.
In Quebec, I've done Nordic spas, but I haven't been to the Sensei or Sensei.
There's
or
a new
however
one.
I want to say it. There's one in Dartmouth.
Is that a Nordic spa, or is that just?
I think
is that what they're going for?
I think it's like that's their theme, and they're expanding, and it's going to get more Nordic as they go. Like it's. It's
cool.
The pictures online look incredible.
This year seems to be like super popular doing like cold plunge and then sauna kind of situations. And like, there's a lot of talk about the beneficial, like the health benefits of cold plunge, of the cold plunge. I've polar bear dipped. Josh, you've done like, you used to do the first Saturday of every month or something.
We did call it a polar bear dip, but we jumped in the water every month of the year for a year.
Yeah. There's a lot of health benefits to it. I don't know. And I see people buying like wash basins and filling them, or like old coolers or deep freezes and filling them with water and breaking them in the morning and jumping in. I'm sure it's great for you. It seems like a lot of work to get into that routine.
It's become a real trend. The Wim Hof method. Have you ever heard of Wim Hof, the Iceman?
Yes.
Look him up. He's fascinating.
Never.
It's all about breathing, but it like forces you to breathe too. So it becomes more than just being cold. It like gets you in control of your breath, and people are like overcoming anxiety with it. So it claims. Well, I don't know. It seems like the new kale or all meat diet, or
it's legit. Like anxiety is like a dysregulated nervous system, and the cold water, be it a cold shower or whatever, has the ability to take you from your sympathetic nervous system into your parasympathetic. Like it balances them out. So it's like if your sympathetic nervous system is maxed and you're having an anxiety attack, the cold water will actually cause you to like flip those. So your sympathetic nervous system kicks in. So it's legit. It's a hard thing to bite off every day. That's what they're saying. Do like cold. Well, I mean, some people are doing like full on cold immersion every day, but a lot of people, wasn't it the James Bond shower or whatever? He'd turn it to cold before he got out every time. That's a thing. That's part of the Wim Hof method as well.
Oh, is that right?
I think it's a James Bond shower.
Okay.
Yeah. There's something there. Yeah.
I don't know.
There it is. The James Bond shower, a shot of cold water for health and vitality.
I used to have a cold, like in the summers, if I'm having a shower after like doing something very, like that would get my body core temperature way up. And I'd have my shower after, let's say it's a run or a bike in the summer and you're really overheated and you have your shower to clean up. At the end of that, I would always have like a minute of cold because I would find if I just jumped out of a hot shower, I'd still almost be sweating in a way. And I was just like, I don't want to get out of a shower smelling good and then sweat. So I would kind of crank on the heat.
Yeah, or I'd walk around with my towel.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Hot shower, just wiping myself. Yeah, you're right.
Or if it's like a hot night and like we don't have air conditioning in our house, like have a shower and then the last minute just crank the cold water and then jump in bed. Like
I try to do that, but it's hard.
Yeah. But I don't know about the cold plunges all the time. I don't know
when
if
I was like doing all that Tim Ferriss 4-hour body stuff. That was a big one of his hacks was to do a cold shower because it speeds up your metabolism. Having the cold shower in the back of your neck where your thyroid gland is.
They do say, the cold therapy, like even the cold shower, they say it'll make you drop weight. You start to carry like less. I don't know what it does to the body. It's interesting. But yeah, cold immersion as well as getting enough water.
Well, it tricks your metabolism is what they say. I don't know.
Yeah, getting enough water as well will. I don't know if it's tricks or like kick starts it for the day, and so you've got a solid running metabolism for the day, which probably has a benefit in terms of like burning calories, and maybe changes your what's it called? Your basal metabolic rate for the day.
Next, please.
I was mentioning having a hangout around a nice warm fire in the winter as being like a fun activity indoors. Are there any other indoor winter activities that you guys look forward to or enjoy?
Movie nights.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's getting into a good series or like you hope for that good series or movie.
Yeah.
What's a good series, Dave?
Well, The Mandalorian just started up again. And
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
I'm into that big time.
You guys check out White Lotus yet?
Have not watched an episode of White Lotus.
Oh.
However, hear good things.
I heard after the first season came out, I was told by several that I should check it out, and then I tried it and didn't get it. I wasn't in, and then the new season came out, and there was a couple actors and actresses that I was interested in watching, and then I watched it and was blown away, and then went and watched the first season and was blown away even more, and then I watched the second season again, and I think it's great.
Okay.
I've already rewatched seasons.
Oh,
both
good.
seasons because it's a really good show.
Cool.
Really neat. And that theme song, I know you all know it.
I bet I do.
Yeah.
How does it go?
Ooh. It's
Yes.
the Brahms like Death March or whatever that they worked into this awesome like
Cool.
dance song, but like they keep working it in and it's like foreshadowing. It's like a character of the show. It's a great show.
Cool.
You should check it out.
The song is like a foreshadowing.
It's like a character of the show and it's foreshadowing because it's called the Death March and
Okay.
White Lotus is, I don't want to say a whodunit, but like at the beginning of each season, you realize that something has happened, and it just shows you the week of guests in a hotel and how they on their vacations and how it gets to that end point. Yeah, it's pretty
It's
neat.
in like current times, modern times.
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
No, that's an HBO show, I believe.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But really good. Oh yeah, it's okay. Any other shows you want to talk about?
More mainstream, like 1923 is a good show. Good.
Is that the
good
one with
series.
Harrison Ford in it?
Yeah.
And the other one was 1880 something.
Also great.
All the prequels to the
Yellowstone.
I almost,
Yellowstones.
But they have a better like flavor to them.
I
or
strongly
different-
feel that the prequels are better than Yellowstone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't
Yellowstone is
I
like,
thought Yellowstone was great. So if these are better in your opinion,
if you watch
I'm in.
those, you'd be like, you know what? Yellowstone is kind of like Sopranos meets Cowboys.
Yeah.
Whereas the other two are just very, very rich stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
We got into shrinking on.
yeah.
I
Jason
watched
Segel.
one episode of that.
And so far, my wife and I are really enjoying that,
Harrison Ford is having a time this year. About
Yeah.
to do an Indiana Jones.
as well as the other guy from How I Met Your Mother,
Jason Segel.
Jason Segel. It seems like he's in a few things right now. Like he's having a bit of a go.
I thought he was only in that. What else was?
There's like another There's a few Netflix things. It just seems like he's doing quite a bit. He was in a movie I just watched. Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
It's all about. I can't think of the name. But anyways, it's basically a guy stumbles across this someone's like second or third home.
yes, it's
Yeah.
in an orange grove.
Yeah,
Orchard?
exactly.
Is it-
Exactly.
where do oranges
And
grow in
another
an
great
orchard?
actors in it. Sorry, names escape me. He was in Fargo.
John Stamos. No, I'm just kidding.
No, what?
William H. Macy.
No, he was sort of a secondary character
Steve
in the.
Buscemi.
No, he's like a younger dude. Really great actor. Do you know the name of the show? Sorry,
I don't.
I shouldn't bring this stuff up and not know.
Windfall.
Yes.
Oh, Jesse Plemons.
Dude.
Jesse
Plemons is good.
Plemons in Windfall.
Bart Plemons.
Yeah. What's cool about Jason Segel too that you brought him up is I just recently read a book series that he did. He had a co-author. I forget her name, but it was really cool. It's a sci-fi kind of has like Ready Player One vibes, but it was good. I read all 3 books, so
I think he's a pretty cool, good dude.
yeah, he's good. Moving on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we go on too much. But
Oh, indoor activity. Can I just say one more thing?
Yes,
Because
please.
it's appropriate. I just dropped off a bicycle trainer, an indoor bicycle trainer to Josh because I got another one that is called a smart trainer. So I put my road bike in it and I can go on Zwift and interact in this crazy world with people and
Yeah.
bike.
Wow.
And it tracks all my everything.
Yeah.
My power, my heart rate, my everything, and it's sort of like a video game, and it is very interactive. And anyways, I'm really trying to get that going, so that's a fun indoor thing.
So my friend that owns a bike shop in Wolfville, Banks Bikes,
Yes,
I was talking to him about this one day, and he was like, if you're going to get a bike trainer, get this one that has the virtual stuff. You'll do it more.
Yeah.
He's like, it just immerses you into this world, and it makes you want to like do better because it tracks things. And, you know, a lot of people think they can a lot of people will put a movie on while they bike train, but they slow down, they get distracted. And yeah.
Do you put a headset on, David, with the one that you have? or
you
something like
can,
that?
you certainly can. But basically, it connects Wi-Fi right through my everything. So like
Yeah.
I'll sit with my iPad on this little stand, and that's that, and I can screencast it up onto my TV and.
They're not
You've
cheap,
got a little
though, are they?
avatar, and I did everything through Kijiji as I do, and actually the one I bought was from this building. I won't say where we are, but
Oh, really?
I was actually in this building where I bought it. A nice young lady, and anyway,
Cool.
indoor cycling. It's kind of fun.
I'm hopefully going to crank it up soon.
Yeah.
I've been curious about this. Let me know how it goes.
If he opened a snack section of his bike shop, he could call it Banks Bites. Coffee and snacks.
Colin, if you're listening,
I'd be in. We could set up a bunch of those trainers in the basement. On the way out, they could grab a coffee and a treat from Banks Bites.
well, I know that
Very
he
cool.
did do like I don't know what he called it, like a bike and brew or something, where you'd go back and have like you do a night.
A group ride, if you will.
Oh, that's what I was looking for.
Nice.
Thank you. That's what they call them these days.
Those are great places.
Yeah, and then go back and
I know Schoolhouse Brewery in
Falmouth.
Windsor. Falmouth.
Windsor. It's Windsor now. They started in Falmouth.
Yeah, a great little craft brew pub, by the way. Great food, great everything.
Yeah.
But they also have kind of hooked up with the local cycling community, and they'll have like a Wednesday night ride and go back there afterwards and have a little feast and social.
Wednesday night group ride.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they also, this was a couple of weeks ago, my wife and I were staying up in Martuck at Airbnb. They had a sort of like drag races on smart trainers at the schoolhouse, and it was all a fundraiser for a local like food bank. And you could go and, again, a social thing, you know, have a bite, have one of their delicious craft brews if you are so inclined, and then you could get on bikes set up and like you kind of race each other.
Oh wow!
But like it's stationary, and anyways, in the middle of a winter, it's kind of a neat little thing.
I feel like we've been all over the place tonight.
We're everywhere,
but I feel like it perfectly bookends kind of our conversation about supplements and stuff, because when you're lacking in vitamin D, your cognitive abilities are limited a bit. We're just all over the place.
This is all great conversation, though. But
yeah, I'm making a joke.
I want to move back to things to do in Nova Scotia. Real quick, I want to talk about other things to do, like activities. You know, in the summer you have all these music festivals and stuff. Well, you do have them in the winter too, and Halifax has a music festival called In the Dead of Winter. I'm not sure I think they still do it, but I gotta say, going to take in, now that COVID's over and like supporting local music's great. You know, a couple weeks back I went and saw Andy Schaaf play at a new venue here in Halifax, and there's something about a winter show and watching somebody at a theater play an acoustic guitar that's just, it feels right. I don't know, just saying.
Cool.
The Propeller Arcade is a good place to go to in the wintertime.
I could see that.
Play a little pinball, have a root beer.
That sounds great.
You know what? Another thing that we tend to do on snow days, my daughter and I will go to Seven Bays and go climbing.
Oh, that's a
like
good
in
idea.
a little bouldering gym. That's like a really fun thing to do, and when it's cold out, we'll do that.
I like to go there and eat the burrito and watch people climb.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also quite enjoyable.
They do a nice burrito.
They do a lovely burrito.
Is that a breakfast burrito? Or burrito
It is a
burrito?
breakfast burrito,
Okay.
in
Right.
fact.
Well,
I
well.
do recall you telling me about this.
It's a
He has
real
talked about
treat.
this burrito on this podcast before, I believe.
Yeah. Two of the greatest breakfasts in the HRM. One would be the burrito there, 7 Bays, and the other would be the breakfast sandwich at the Tea House in Lawrencetown.
You've
also
spoken of
talked
that
about
on a
this.
previous episode.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now, traditional breakfasts, other places, but those two things.
I would say that there's another one at the Cortado Tasting Room on your way out to Hammond's Plains.
Oh, okay.
It's right on below my physiotherapist. What is like Catalyst physiotherapy? I gotta tell you, they make this breakfast sandwich that is next level. They're using like the snares, like the real deal English muffins,
Oh,
and they have like this spicy aioli with not too hot. It's just like a little kick, like a chipotle. And then it has like a fried egg with like a nice thick cut bacon and some spinach on there. Oh man,
sounds sassy.
I'm going there tomorrow morning and I'm going to get one.
Cortado.
Yeah,
Whoa, are they the specialty coffee shop? Like
it's a coffee shop. It's a cafe.
But you can request different styles of brewing your coffee. I think that's the place.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure.
It sounds like a place that has some
It's a nice place.
coffee game.
Well, I know that the person that owns the building was very specific about who he wanted in there. He wanted a certain vibe, if you will, of, you know, he's got good physiotherapist. He's got a natural food store. There's a local farm that he has. They have a little farm market in there, Noggins. And there's this cafe, and it was like very specifically selected.
By the rink there.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Really
Never
cool.
been in, but I heard great things.
Yeah, it's like a 4-pad or something there.
Yep.
And they also have indoor soccer fields.
I think so.
Yeah.
BMO.
BMO, yeah.
Yep.
Cortado Tasting Room.
Yeah. It's really good. Really good cafe. Little shout out there for you, Cortado.
You can send the gift certificates to...
Yeah.
I'm not going to give out my address on this public podcast.
And of course, we got to talk real quick about winter surfing. 3 of us in the room enjoy it.
One of us does not.
Yeah. Some of the best surf in Nova Scotia happens during the winter. And there's less people.
Less people.
Yep. And contrary to popular belief, the water is normally a little bit warmer than the air here in the winter. And a winter wetsuit, nice and thick. You're wearing like... It's the thickest thing I own. It's the warmest thing I own. I mean...
Aside from your skin.
Well... Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Other than your skin.
But it is... It's the warmest article of clothing. What?
Oh, man.
I love it.
It's
How
like-
thick is skin?
I feel like it's thicker than a winter wetsuit.
If I wear a 6mm wetsuit,
I
how
think,
thick is skin?
all right, let's look it up.
2mm?
I think your skin is thicker than a winter wetsuit.
I mean, obviously, it's
Well, what
thicker
are
in
you-
different places.
Where are we going right now?
Well, I'm challenging them that the skin isn't as warm as a wetsuit
The thickness...
based
the,
on thickness.
The thickness of skin varies from 0.5 millimeters thick on the eyelids to 4 millimeters thick on the heels of your feet.
I was just going to say, heels and feet, you know, is thick.
Skin is the major barrier between the inside and outside of the body. Oh.
It's kind of disturbing me.
What's also interesting is that the thickest part is your heel,
You should make a wetsuit
but
out
your
of
winter
heel skin.
wetsuit booties that you like the booties that you would wear in the winter
Mm.
are like 8 millimeters or something.
Mhm.
Typically, like yeah. Anyway, interesting. Why
It's
are we
like-
protecting that?
It's like wearing 2 sets of heels.
Yeah.
That's at least 2 sets of heels on your body.
Who's ever listening to this is like these guys.
Winter surfing. Yeah, wetsuits are great. Surfing in the winter is fun. It's all about the gear.
Go wearing your suit or have a good poncho to change in, warm poncho.
A heated poncho.
Mm.
I wonder if that's... I wonder if you could get what... You know how you can get those DeWalt drill battery jackets that keep you warm at Home Depot?
I did not
wonder
know
if
that.
you can get a
Do they have those?
battery-powered surf poncho.
Well, you can get battery-powered like vests, and you put them underneath your wetsuit, and they'll keep you warm.
Really?
Yeah, they've got those. Yeah, I haven't seen too many use them in reality, but they do exist.
You can get little battery powered DeWalt things too that you could just keep in your car, just to like put on the ground while you're changing.
And they like blow heat?
Yeah, you just put like the battery for your drill in the back of it. Yeah.
I had electric socks one time when I worked up north.
Sure.
They weren't very good.
And there's electric socks and stuff you can get for skiing. A lot of people will.
They took 2
get these
D
things.
batteries. It was crazy.
2 Ds. They were this big. You had to carry the 9-volt battery in your
I had to stretch
pocket.
the socks up so high so that they would be above my boots so these
Oh.
D batteries could sit on the side of my
That's
leg.
funny.
They didn't work very well.
But I was gonna say, like sentimentally though, I love when we go out winter surfing and like getting that coffee from Tim's after, you know, and we got like frosty tipped hair from standing out in the cold. I don't know. There's something
You feel alive. You
I
feel
feel so tough too that we just
yeah.
I'm totally into that whole thing you're describing. It's just my experience was not that enjoyable.
That was an exceptionally cold day that me and Josh were out there, so the wind was quite severe. We're red as lobsters afterwards. But like you guys are saying, like the winter wetsuits are really amazing, and just kind of like the first time you put one on, like I remember trying one on in the shop and just was like immediately sweating. But it's quite shocking once you get out in the water, like how effective they are. So it is pretty cool where you kind of feel like you're conquering nature in a way. But it is also something to be mindful of is like the air can be quite cold. So you kind of want to move around a bit to make sure that you're moving and keeping your body temperature up. And then also if you do fall in the water, I would kind of say it's like the sensation of like an ice cream headache. So you definitely do feel that they're cold, but it's one of those things like when I do go out in the winter, I definitely like to be with people. I think it's important to stay safe in the winter time. And I wouldn't recommend maybe if you have like some friends to go out with, like maybe if you wanted to try surfing, I would lean more towards if it's your first time out to wait until the water is warmer because it'll just be more forgiving. You'll have like a funner time.
Yeah, you can't stay out there for too long in the winter either because
Exactly. Yeah.
You do expire after a while. You do start to get cold after a while there. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, and whether it's winter or summer, just kind of like, paying attention to
Yeah.
the conditions around you and staying safe.
I don't think I've ever been in the water in the winter longer than like an hour and a half. I don't think I don't know. But just saying.
Seems about right.
Yeah. Okay. Before we move on, what's your least favorite thing about winter, Josh?
Probably the wind. I hate the wind.
That cold wind.
Yeah. And like when you're trying to like get out of your vehicle and the wind is blowing your door closed against you,
Ah.
that just drives me.
Charles?
Wind.
The darkness.
The
Keep
dark.
your hands off of my...
Get your hands off of my woman, Mr. Falcon.
Mr. Falcon.
Sorry.
What about you, Dave? What's your least favorite thing?
I don't like wet feet or wet pants, and our winters tend to get a lot of slush or rain, and if I've got wet socks or wet shoes or wet pants, my day's ruined if I don't have another set that I can change into.
Fair enough.
Spending a day cold, wet, I don't like it.
How do you feel about a hallway full of wet socks from children?
And that smell. That's the smell.
That's a smell. There's
That's a smell.
Yeah, that's
It's
the
real.
thing. I'd say for me, my least favorite thing is shoveling snow and walking on ice, and how much it messes up my back. And when it's cold, all my muscles. So like I always get my back problem stuff happening in the winter. So that's stuff that makes me brace myself differently than.
Sure.
I also hate the confines of winter jackets. Makes you hold your shoulders a certain way. You get all jammed in there. You can't move.
That's a good point.
It's like wearing it's like when you have to wear a dress shirt that doesn't have much flexibility in it.
Oh boy.
Well, I just think about how normally I don't like going places with so many things like in my pockets. Like we were comparing wallet sizes the other night, and I don't want to have anything on me. And when we go out in the winter, I'll wear a toque, but sometimes I want to take it off, and then I got like pockets just stuffed with toques and gloves. And
I also hate that. Full
Yeah.
pockets.
Full
The
pockets.
worst.
Yeah.
Too much stuff in your pockets. Very upsetting.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, guys.
Nailed it.
Anyway, moving on.
All these buses, all these buses, all these buses. Volkswagen bus.
A long time since we've talked about Josh's van. Josh has a 1960.
1975 Volkswagen Westphalia.
There it is. And he's been working hard to make it roadworthy and keep it, update it and put it in some good shape. And I know that you've had some ebbs and flows on this journey. Do you want to share where you are now with it?
I'm currently in an ebb.
Ebb.
I had to. I guess I told you guys like the body was so far gone that it's beyond any skill set I would ever have. So somebody else was working on it, and I had to finish working with them, to put it politely, and bring it home. So I had to pack it all up and find all the parts and get a trailer or get a tow truck and tow it home and push it in the garage. And it's currently sitting up on little wheels so you can roll it around, and all the parts are piled inside of it. And it's unfortunately going to sit like that for a while. And had to do a hunt because the people that have helped me work on it have lost some of the parts over the years. And currently trying to get my windshield back, which has gone missing. So it's a frustrating moment, but it's all back, all in the same place, and it's completely solid and all welded back up and primed. So I was going to say it's years beyond where it was when I started, but that's a very accurate statement because it was 12 years ago, almost 13.
So when we were in California, we ran into this all along the Huntington Pier. There, I forget what day of the week it was, but there was might have been a Saturday
Saturday morning. Remember we took a break and had a coffee, and I was like,
what is
What
that?
is this?
Yeah. And that was awesome. It was just like this perfect moment for Josh because I think we had just recorded the last time we talked about his van, and then we went and got to see all these vans like all along the pier. There must have been like 200 to 300 of these antique vans. You made some connections that day, didn't you? Have you?
I chatted to people about where they got parts and all that kind of thing. Most of the parts come out of California or the UK.
Mm.
And then in Canada, we have to get them through a distribution place in Vancouver, which brings them together from the UK and from California. And it's just cheaper to do it that way because of brokerage fees and exchange rates and stuff like that. But I made some good kind of connections for certain specific parts I was looking for and people who restored dashes and all that kind of thing. Actually, I found the dash restorer somewhere else, but based out of California as well. California is like the hub of car restoration because they don't rot out.
It was cool.
salt.
It was super cool. And it's so funny because so many of the vans had the compulsory surfboard on top.
Sure.
And you could tell that board has never moved from the top of that
Yeah.
car.
I got really excited about finishing my van, and then some things transpired that didn't work out. So I've changed my horizon, and I hope to have it done before I retire.
Oh man.
No, I'm taking a break from it, but I keep pushing it forward.
Cool.
We're not going to be taking it to the beach this summer, though.
So we'll hold off on bringing back this topic till season
Maybe
18.
season 10. Yeah.
Awesome.
The dream is still there. That's what matters.
That's the most important thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again for the final question from Charles. You're up, Charles.
This is Charles.
All right, this week's question. Time is luck. This is stated by characters in 3 Michael Mann films: Manhunter, Heat, Miami Vice. Time is luck. What does it mean?
Time is luck.
Time.
I think I can go.
Sure, Josh.
I recently learned that there are 3 types of luck. And now that I'm speaking, I wish I had looked them up before I said I can go. But one of them has to do with just kind of getting out there and just allowing enough time. And when I originally heard it, it was talking about like being in, I think it was about being in the music industry. But time is luck because time is you being there in a specific scenario. Time is you putting in the effort in a situation. And so you become lucky because you've just been there. Similar to like this podcast is getting more listeners. We're lucky we're getting more listeners, but it's because we've been continuously putting in the effort. It's that kind of idea. So to me, time is luck because time is you being there, doing it,
Right.
Showing that that's your interest, putting in the work.
Right. Good answer.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Well, our last episode, I talked about how grateful I am for time. Because I've done a lot of healing and I've taken my time, and I do feel lucky to have the time and to know and to become aware that I needed to take time. And I think about that whenever I'm doing anything that's intense, any project or anything. I used to rush things a lot. I pretty hyperactive guy in my youth and would just blast through things. And, being, as a former teacher, I would see kids rush things and just like to breathe and take your time. You've got time, make sure you're really enjoying it and really paying attention to everything happening around you. And if you do, I don't know if I guess you could say luck will come to you, like, because you've earned it, because you've worked for it by taking the time. Yeah. Jeez. Join me as I think out loud.
Good answer. Yeah. David.
Time is luck. So, I would say, you put your effort, you put your time. You put your intentions and your sweat equity into a certain thing that you're looking for, whatever that may be, and that will make things happen. Having the right mindset, whether you want to, manifest things, whether you believe in sort of that, but just, and I actually think that it could even be more than just you. It could be the people who came before you have, they've put in the time, and it's sort of the culmination of all these things coming together that will, in a general sense, make your luck, but luck is intentional, and the time is intentional, and it's focused, and out of that, good things will happen in whatever area you're looking to put it into. That's how I think.
What do you think, Charles?
I've always taken it as time. You have a certain amount of time for things, whether it be life or relationships, different things. So you're lucky to have time. So I've always taken as time as luck. Like, you have this time, that's a good thing. That's a lucky thing. So when it's sort of like, when you come together with certain people or there's certain events in your life, that's kind of like how I feel about it. And that you always, I think the thing we all want is as much time as we can have, although sometimes time can seem long and boring at times, but just to have time is luck. And I know with Michael Mann and his stuff, like, he's usually dealing with like the criminal world and whatnot, but he would have spent a lot of time researching, doing like research in penitentiaries and stuff. But there's, just to hear him speak about like the prisoner's perception of time, because you're doing time, or you're looking forward to doing your time and then getting out and then having that time. So
I really like that perspective. You're lucky to have time. You're lucky to be alive. Like, it's a different, I like that. Different than my original view. I still like my view, and I like what you guys came up with, but that
All
one,
good
I
answers.
like how you flipped it on its head,
Mm-hmm.
because we are very fortunate to just be alive.
I was thinking, just as you brought up, jail and doing time, and two things I'll say. Number one is, it's so easy to say, like, I just want to live in the moment, and so much of and you talked about this a bit, Jared, like, so many moments in my life, I'm always rushing to that next thing, and I'm like, geez, did I squeeze that orange and soak up all of that? And easier said than done, but like, to be present and in every moment and enjoying it all. Like, again, it's 2020 when you're looking back on these things, but in the time, so the struggle to be present and everything is the first thing I that I just thought of. But the second one is I was thinking of one of the great movies, and again, I'm blanking. They're in jail.
Shawshank?
Thank you. Sorry, I should know the name
Great
of that.
film.
Shawshank Redemption. And my wife and I were talking about this other day, and not to get too deep into the dark aspect of it, when Morgan Freeman's character finally gets out, obviously time is a big thing here, and freedom versus institutionalized. But when he goes to sort of a halfway house and realizes that the world is sort of passed him by, and he's not sure his role in this free time and world, and
Totally, yeah.
and they have this wonderful saying, like, well, you got to make a choice, and it's kind of like, get busy living or get busy dying.
Yeah.
And I love that thinking. Like, it's like, what do you want to focus on here? And because, not that everything comes down to those choices, but it's kind of an interesting one. Like, what are you going to do? What do you want to focus on here?
Yeah, when you have time, like, how do you want to use that?
Right.
That kind of circles around to what you were talking about, Josh.
Yeah.
You guys speaking about that makes me think about people like that they've been told their expiry date, with being diagnosed with like a cancer or something like that, and how often, you see I don't know. I've just been made aware of people close to me that have lost loved ones very, very quickly. But they made a lot of really good use of the time that they did have while they were sick. And I'm sure that they would be saying like, yeah, time is luck.
For sure.
Yeah.
What you said about the movie made me think in the movie Morgan Freeman would have waited all those years to be free.
Right.
And then he finally got it and he didn't know what to do with himself.
Yeah.
And I think we do that a lot with these goals or things we think we can get or save for or trips or whatever. And then you get there, and because it's an evolution to achieve something, you're just yourself when you get there. And whether it's a trip or whatever you've picked.
Yep.
Project, whatever. That you immediately, it's kind of like that thing, wherever you go, there you are. Well, like here you are, you've achieved it. And immediately you're just on to the next thing.
That's
because
right.
oh, well, if I get this next thing, then I'll be, and then fill in the dots. And that's what it made me think of, because he spent his whole life in prison in the film.
Yeah.
Waiting to be free. And when he got it,
he
didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he spent his entire, in the movie, I think it was like 30 years, wasn't it?
Yeah. A long time, but most of his life.
And none of us are in prison, but we're essentially doing the same thing where, when I get this, or when I do this, or when I become this, or when I learn this, it's like.
Quick throwback to one of our last episodes was I watch on YouTube Nathan Florence, who is a wonderful surfer and, very interesting YouTube channel.
John Jones' brother.
Yeah, his brother is arguably one of the best surfers around, and they had him on the podcast, and they're kind of like, "Hey, I'm going to ask you some questions, and you answer." And anyways, it's interesting how he really echoed sort of the theme of our last podcast. Of he was like, "I would dedicate my year and years to winning a world title." Everything was for this goal. And then I got it, and literally they'd be handing me the trophy, and 5 minutes later he was like, "Now what?"
Means nothing.
Wow.
And then he talks about how it really was about that year of training and focus, and that was the thing he remembers. 5 minutes after, he was like on to the next thing. So anyways, you just clicked it in, and so interesting.
To parallel what you just said, I think about, once you reach a goal, the come down of that is so difficult. And I think about teachers entering summer. They just, especially if they were taught this group of children, like 20 to 30 kids, this one, like elementary teachers teach this group of children, and then all of a sudden they give them report cards and they walk out. And the come down of that for some teachers is so difficult.
Sure.
And people talk about how summer is, you get summers off and all this, but some people really are suffering that letdown, that what's next, that so many things. Like I worked so hard and now they're gone.
Yeah.
It's quite of like, a lot of people do this little depression blip for the first 2 weeks of summer.
Sure.
It's a thing that happens with a lot of teachers.
There's a lot of stuff out there of how you have to let yourself have that, and the depression that comes after achieving a goal is totally normal. You have to live
in it.
It's almost like you grieve it. It's
process.
over, and part of the process is, you go through that dip, you come back, and things are mundane. You don't know what to do with yourself.
Yeah,
and it's in those sort of, it's when you give yourself the time that the next motivations come up and you figure out what you want to do. It's like when you go for a walk and all of a sudden this idea pops in your head. You're like, oh. And we talked about this before, but the importance of giving yourself space. And I talked about my creative process and needing to be I can't be with people all the time and all of that sort of thing. That's just how I work. And I think that achievement of goals and things is very much connected to that sort of process. You really do need to recalibrate after you achieve something, or you just stay on the wheel. And every time you achieve something, it doesn't mean anything. It was just another thing.
It's funny you said to go back, and I might insert it back. Jim Carrey said it really well. when you're depressed, it's your body saying you need deep rest.
Yeah.
That stuck with me, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
You got to listen to your body. You got to listen to the signs it's giving you, and that's like anxiety and stuff. Also tells you you are having these feelings for a reason. We got to learn how to listen to our bodies and what to do with those signals we're giving ourselves.
And sometimes when you achieve those big things, you were probably pushing pretty hard to get that final piece to achieve it, whether it's report cards or it's a run or
a surf
film
tournament
you're working on, or surf, some kind of surf thing project you're doing. Oftentimes there's stress associated with that. So you've pushed yourself into a place where like you've probably reached some sort of stimulated nervous system or dysregulated nervous system. And so of course when it ends and it's achieved, that stress is going to drop off, and then your body just needs that time to regulate, and it makes perfect sense that you're going to have a dip. Or if the achievement, like, I'm no psychologist, this is all stuff I've put together from reading, but like if you get a bunch of like dopamine released from the achievement of this goal, well, you're going to have a dip after because you just came from a high. So time, super important just in general. Like you got to give yourself time to regulate after that.
And respect the transitions in life.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good answers. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, great question.
Doopy.
This was another long one, fellas. All right, let's call it there. Thanks for listening.
That's a wrap.
We've been the Nova Kooks. I've been Jared.
I'm still Josh.
David.
Thanks. Take care. Such a Nova Scotian thing to say. Take care, bud.
Take care. Ta-ta. Take care.
Keep your stick on the ice.
Keep your head on a swivel.
Don't go changing. Thanks for listening to Nova Kooks. We are so grateful for the time you took to spend with us. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram for more kooky behavior. Thanks, and be well.